This is a quipu, an ancient form of a book. The Incans used to tie knots and ropes to tell a story. The first census data that we know of is from 2 AD in the Han Dynasty. Today, data is everywhere. Our cell phones are tracking us. Our credit cards are tracking our buying history. Videos, images, these are all forms of data. The Internet of Things portends a world of trillions of sensors everywhere. The whole adage of you can't manage what you can't measure applies here. Now that we can measure all these things, we can have smarter cities and smarter organizations. Big data is, we use the 5 V's to describe big data. Volume, the amount of data generated from the beginning of time to 2008 is equivalent to the amount of data generated in 1 minute today. Staggering numbers. In the waste world, onboard computers are a great example of something that collects and generates a large volume of data. On our trucks, we look at truck status, fuel, and the dispatch can communicate real time with our trucks. Velocity is the speed of data. NRT's in-flight optical sorter takes 10,000 scans a second. So high velocity of gathering data and then making a decision to sort. Variety is the breadth of sources of where data comes from. So waste audits, scales, sensors like Anivo that tell you how full your containers are. Veracity is the next V, and this is the messiness and trustworthiness of data. So as a waste industry, we want to know, is the data valid and does it come from a source that we trust? Now the final V is value. The 5th V is value. What is all this data worth? In Lebanon, they've been without a president for 14 months. Protesters have shut down the landfills and waste is piling up. So Uber decided to use their data and their platform to create Uber Recycle. Residents of the city of Beirut can click on Uber Recycle. A van was delivered to their house, picks up their recycling and takes it to a facility. So what a cool way of using data to add value and help out in a crisis. Now, data is not all rosy. There are security issues. We've all heard about the Target hacks, the Sony hacks. We need to make sure and ensure that our data is protected from intruders. That's not to say don't invest and don't look at big data. We have ways to protect it. So looking at encryption techniques, secure logins, your organization just needs to make sure they have a strategy for big data is the key takeaway here. And companies like Anivo, we're taking care of our customers' data. Now, so what? Why do we care as a waste industry? Well, money. McKinsey estimates that the value of open data is $3 trillion. Now, how can we capitalize on this in the waste world? Let's take a look at a couple of hauler examples. So for business customers or commercial customers, onboarding is still a pretty manual process. What if a business could log in, type in their information, their type of business, their square footage, and upload a photo of their enclosure and get automatically generated service levels, bins ordered, and then delivered based on that. That would save time, money, and have a much smoother customer onboarding experience. Recycling has been a huge topic, our recycling markets this year. If you look at material value, it equals the commodity prices minus our costs. So we don't have a lot of influence over the commodity prices that are declining, so how about we look at reducing the costs? Imagine if we could deploy the same size bin with a sensor on it to every commercial customer. We could then collect based on fullness level and optimized routes. This would reduce the touches on our bins and our materials, therefore reducing collection costs and increasing material value. In addition, it takes trucks off the road, less emissions, what's not to like. So as we wrap up this very whirlwind tour through the big data world and how it applies to us in the waste industry, I realized that I need to find some zen because it can be overwhelming. So I try to find zen within it. But if not, if all else fails, this is also how you can deal with big data, and I can read it for you. After careful consideration of all 437 charts, graphs, and metrics, I've decided to throw up my hands, hit the liquor store, and get snockered. Who's with me?